Queuing it up right now. Okay. Hello, buddy.
Hello.
Hello, old
I
partner of
thought
mine.
I was supposed to be in a spaceship.
Yeah. So, I love how it has the fill in the blank and the crawl. I don't know if you saw that. So Victoria's on her phone. Unless you've been living under a rock, this is the old duo from WOR Real Estate Talk. Represent. And I've wanted to have you as a guest since this thing started. So I'm very glad for coming in. So Victoria Rivadeneira, uh, I have called you many things. I have called you partner. I have called you broadcast buddy. I've called you friend. That's my favorite one, and we'll stick with that. You are a real estate expert. You are a broker. You are a consultant. You are a radio personality. You are a thought leader in the industry. And I really want to talk to you about what's going on in this world today. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm also a traveler,
Yeah,
and
you are.
my car is not only a vehicle for transportation; it's my office, and today it is my studio.
Yeah,
So
there
bear
you
with.
go. So, you're doing just great. I've done mobile, and it's like, but you're good. So don't worry about it. Even if you drop the phone, you just pick it up. We'll just keep going.
Most
So
importantly, we're here together.
we are here together. All right. So when you ask me, well, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about you. All right. And this is not this is your life, but here's what I know about you. You grew up on Staten Island.
I
You
grew up
got it. Say it again.
in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. All
I
right.
did
Take it
born
away.
in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Then I went to Staten Island
So you went to Staten Island when?
when I started selling real estate way back when.
Okay. So
As an
uh,
adult, I lived in Staten Island, and I
gotcha.
started my career in Staten Island, which
Gotcha.
was wonderful, by the way.
What, by the way?
Which was wonderful. I love my
Yeah.
Staten Island. Cyborg, amazing.
Yeah. I gotta say, Sandy's still there, I believe.
Yes.
Um, I belonged to the Staten Island board for a few months. Long story, but I had an REO opportunity out there. And when I brag about how I've sold something in all five boroughs, uh, I the hardest one by far was Staten Island, at least from where I am. But what what a good market! What a good association! What a
Amazing.
good place,
Yes.
right?
Very professional. It was a great place to get started. I learned so much.
How many years were you in Staten Island? And you were a broker eventually, right?
I was, yeah. So I was a top producing agent in Staten Island. And then I opened up a small brokerage, independent. And then from there, I left Staten Island when my daughter was about to enter school. I did not want her to go to the New York City schools. I wanted her to have a different experience. So I moved to just north of where you were in Westchester.
Right.
And she had a wonderful experience there. And then I opened up a Keller Williams office, and that went really well. And I learned a lot there. I mean, my journey has just been amazing. I've just learned so much, and I've made amazing friends. My very best friends are all from the real estate industry.
Mine too.
It's
Mine
great.
too. You know, and it's funny, the stereotypes about real estate agents are so unfair from people who probably should like know better. But the finest, hardest working, most down to earth people I know are realtors.
I always
And
say that. We're hardworking. Most realtors I know are super smart. They're entrepreneurial. They are very generous. They give back to communities. It's an amazing group of people. We're social. It's really a great group of people. I'm so happy that I took this journey because, like everyone else, this was my plan B. I wasn't intending to be a real estate agent, but I'm so glad that I did. go down this journey, and I started so young. So I've pretty much done this most of my life, which is a wonderful experience.
All right. So, all right. So we're going to come to that. The accidental career.
Yes.
See, I have notes. I got my remarkable out. This is my, you know me. So this is
I
my
have no
digital.
notes. This is all off the top of my head,
All
Phil.
you need to do, you don't, you just need to talk. There's nothing you need to do. But so what was the plan? What was plan A? If real estate was plan B, what was plan A?
Plan A was to be a teacher, early childhood education degree. That's what I was doing. I was
How,
going a kindergarten teacher of all things. That's what I wanted to do.
how did I
And
not know this?
yeah, you didn't know this? Oh wow! All these years, you know me.
So
Yeah,
you went to school for education.
school for education, and the year that I was supposed to, I did graduate. The last year of college, I lost both of my parents.
Yeah,
So I
that I knew. Yeah.
mortgage, not with a house. That's what I would always say. And I had a very sheltered life, so I didn't know how to pay bills and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, I look at this and I said, I am not going to be able to afford any of this lifestyle if I continue to be a teacher. And let me tell you, I have such a respect for teachers because they are underpaid for the amount of work that they do. And they are the foundation of our children. And everything we do in life comes from the teachers that we had, and they really should be paid a whole lot more. So, knowing this at the time, I said I need to make some extra money. So, I thought I was going to go out, sell a couple of houses, make some extra money, go get my master's so that I can get that bump up in salary and afford the lifestyle that I wanted. And here I am, first year in real estate, and I sell a few houses, and I said, wow, this is how much I'm making. This is amazing. I love it. I love the people. I loved everything I was doing. I met amazing folks, whether they were clients, customers, fellow agents. I never went back for my master's, and I continued the journey in real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was an accidental career for me also, but I just didn't know that teaching was on the table for you. Allison's a teacher,
Yeah,
and we talk about how disgustingly underpaid uh, teachers are, and the people that like to say that teachers they work part time or they get summers off, they are so ill informed about that
yeah.
because teachers don't work part time. That is baloney, and they don't really have the summer off, and they have to dig into their pockets just to put stuff up in their classroom, and so
Oh, I know. We can talk about this on and on. Like I said earlier, I have so much respect for teachers for what
yeah,
they do. Having gone down that road of wanting to be a teacher and then switching gears, I have even more respect for them because I know what they go through and the expense that it costs, and even just the education part. I mean, most of them, have a student loan that they have to pay back, and the
yeah,
first years before they get your masters, they are not making the money that they should. And it's really sad that we live in a society where we glorify all of our entertainers, and those who are responsible for our children and the foundation of our lives are so poorly underpaid.
couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Um, so we went down a little rabbit hole there
We
because you,
did.
you caught me with the plan B, and that's the best of real estate unscripted. But the three things we talk about that I think of when I think about just the quality of individual that are in the real estate community. They care. You mentioned it. They are caring people. There's a higher percentage of real estate agents, in my experience, who are really into dogs, cats, and pets. In
Yeah.
my experience, and they love being an advocate. That is something that people never talk. I never see this out there in like the forums where people talk about real estate agents and everything like that. They don't realize that one of the things, at least with my agents and the agents that I've worked with, which is a lot of people, I've got a big representative sample. They take the idea that they are an advocate for a client super, super seriously. Super seriously. And I know you feel that way too. I know
Yes.
you feel that way too.
Very much so.
All right, so you're in Staten Island. You've made this choice that, like, you know what? I think I'm going to stick with this real estate thing. I think this thing's got legs. I think we're going to go. So how long before you started your brokerage?
Oh, I don't really remember, to be honest. I would probably say it was about 5 years
Yeah.
into
Okay.
it, my brokerage. And that was a really good run. Again, great experience. One of the things that I say is I just trusted the journey.
Yeah.
My entire career, I just trusted the journey. Whatever came next, that's what I did. And, I got to a point where I said, it's probably time for me to go ahead and open up my own place. And that's what I did. And that was, again, an amazing experience. And then when I left Staten Island, which was, let's see, gosh, I don't even know how many years later I
Early
left.
early 2000s, maybe.
I left in 2005. I started
Okay.
in 1990, so I was like 15 years.
Okay.
I went to Dutchess County,
Yep.
and then I went with a brand, and
Yep.
that was a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And that also taught me something. And then from there, I went to the corporate side, and I just kept following the journey.
Right. So you're with KW. Tell me about what the culture shock was. What was the different? What was the big difference? What were some of the takeaways you got? As by the way, you were with the brand before going with the brand because you are your brand.
I was my own brand. I mean,
Yeah, but
yes,
I know what you're saying. So you went with a national.
I went with a national
Right.
brand, and they came after me, and and I originally said no, I'm fine, and then I was really glad that I went and talked to them. And I will say this: when you get into real estate, and you'll appreciate this, you're doing whatever you're taught from the person that you work with,
Yep.
and that's all you know.
Yeah.
Then I opened up my own real estate company, and that was all I knew. And I just did what I thought I was supposed to do, and it worked.
Yeah.
There's complaints. I mean, I was very happy. And then it was like going from black and white to color when I started to learn the things that I didn't know. And that was a real eye-opening experience, because at that point I started to learn how to really truly run a business like a business. And a lot of agents, they're agents and then they become a broker because they think that's the next step, but they don't really truly learn how to run a business. I didn't have a business degree, an early childhood degree. So at that point, did I really know how to run a business? I did an okay job. But when I really learned how to run a business, and I learned how to read a P&L, and I learned how to, the expenses and all the different tools and training and technology that's available, that was a whole different thing for me. So it was, again, great experience.
Do you
All
remember
positive.
the book The E-Myth or The E-Myth Revisited?
Yes, of course.
I mean, you're real. That's one of the lessons. Like you can be a great cook, doesn't mean you run a good restaurant.
That's right.
You could be a brilliant litigator, doesn't mean you run a successful law firm. I could go on and on. Running
That's
a business puts you so out of your comfort zone and into areas that you actually started your business to avoid, right? Like I don't want to do I couldn't be an accountant,
right. And
right?
now you're an accountant.
Well,
And then
yeah,
I don't want to be a marketing person. And now you're a marketing person.
right,
And then when
right,
you really learn how to run a business properly, you hire the right people to do that for you.
right. You get a guy. You get a
Yes,
guy. You surround yourself with people that know how to do what you can't do.
that's
And
right.
of course you got to trust them and there's a whole thing there. So,
It's funny that we're going down that road now, because isn't that the success of any agent, right? If you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. If you're not hiring the accountant to get the proper advice, you are the accountant. But
right.
when you start to hire people that know how to do it better than you, that's when the real success starts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because now you've got that's off your plate. It's a double whammy. There's the opportunity cost of what you could have done while you were doing that stuff is restored back to you, right? And now you have somebody better at it than you were who can make you better, elevate you because now you're focusing on what you're actually talented at doing.
And
Um,
do what you do best. When you are doing what you do best and you let everyone else pick up the pieces of what you don't do really well, again, that's the some of the secrets to success.
right. So another book, Good to Great.
Yes, another good book.
All right. So I think I was at the T3 Summit years ago, 5, 6 years ago. Gino Blafari
Yes, no.
was up there. What a brilliant guy. And he talks about this book, Good to Great. And I think to me, I got to get Good to Great. So I listened to it on Audible. And the right person in the right seat.
Yep.
Talk about going from black and white to color, right?
Yes.
Now it's like, instead of I'll do it myself, now it's I got to put together my posse. I got to put together my network. I've got to get a guy to do the stuff that I don't like doing, or I'm not good at doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. And so many people are on the right bus and they're in the wrong seat. You know, when they figure out the right seat, everything gets a lot easier.
And this is part of what you do. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. We'll come back to a couple things. But now you are doing what? You are a consultant now. Yes, you are helping people run their business like a business.
Yes. So the interesting with my career, the interesting thing with my career is that I was an agent, a top producing agent. Then I had an independent real estate company. Then I was with a branded real estate company that I actually brought to the top 5 in market share in a very short amount of time. Then I learned how to recruit. And then I started teaching recruiting and retention and driving revenue. And I was on the corporate side. I was a divisional president for an international company. And then I was working as a consultant. I started to build out, other brands for some franchisees. So I have been in every different seat that you can be in at all different levels of my career. So I have a true understanding of what it is that you, Phil Faranda, will go through on a daily basis in your market and in your type of business. But I also have that same understanding of a real estate agent who maybe is just building a team or is, trying to get more listings, because I've been there. So many coaches out there, do what I say, not what I do. I've done it. I've lived it. I know what it's like to have sleepless nights worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. So that is a very different dynamic that I bring to the table. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
You clearly love it, because you're starting to levitate. All right. So I can tell. I know you. You start to levitate. All right. So let's talk about this. If you looking at, these mistakes, looking at what people need to do to run their business and everything like that, what are some of the more common, like, faux pas? Not a faux pas. What are the common mistakes that people make in this industry where they don't run their business like a business? Or what are some of the things you do? Like, self-admitted, I need to learn to read the P&L way earlier.
Well, the number one biggest mistake is the control. I want to be in control. I am not going to release that. I do it better than everybody else. Nobody can be me. That is a very big problem. When you learn to delegate and you learn to set expectations and hold that person accountable that you've delegated that business to, everything is a little bit easier. That is one of the biggest problems when I'm consulting someone. They say, well, I want to do this and I want to grow, but no, I can't hire someone because that's what I do. No, they will never do it the way I do it. They can't go on the listing. I have to do it. They can't take out the buyer. I have to do it. They can't do the marketing. I have to do it. Well, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
And you're never going to grow to your full capacity if you don't bring on others. Now, we succeed through others always. And this is a relationship business. So you meet all different types of people in this business. There's a lot of talent out there. Find the person that is in alignment with you and your values and delegate. That's the number one problem that I see.
Yeah. Okay. That, I got to tell you, that's, if I had to guess, that probably would have been, what I would some derivation of that, because I think one of the calling cards of an entrepreneur, especially, but a real estate broker, is they have to be in control.
Yes.
Right. They may have trust issues, but they have to be in control. And surrendering control is very difficult for people who have invested everything in being the captain of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get the memo, unfortunately, that they need a first mate, and they need people who know how to sew sails, and they need people who, you need a cook, and there's got to be a guy shoveling coal, and the whole thing. So that there is probably what I would have guessed. What's the craziest shit you've ever seen? Like someone like, you don't know this? Like I have to
Oh
explain
wow,
this to you?
that happens on a daily basis, Phil. But
Right.
I want to go back to the control thing because it's really interesting when you say that you agree with that because, when we relinquish that control, a lot of people that I do a lot of consulting with, when I first start with them and they finally agree to relinquish that control, they begin to micromanage. And that's the next problem.
Yeah.
If you're going to give up that control, you have to trust the person that you hire to do the job. Now, there was a study done by Harvard, and they said that if you want to get really good talent and you want them to stay with you and you want them to be happy, there's four components to what a person is looking for. Do you know what
Okay.
they
I would imagine trust.
Well, the first one is control. Believe it or not, we're back to that control word.
Okay,
So,
so the person wants control of their own department. They want to be
right,
able to
don't necessarily
self-determine.
the whole company to be in control. But if you hire me to do a specific task for your company, then you have to trust that I'm going to do my part.
Right.
So, if you micromanage me, you're taking away my control of what I do. So,
Right.
again, when you finally find that person, give them the control that they need to do the job that you hired them to do.
Okay.
That doesn't mean you're just going to walk away from them and say, okay, here you are, here's the keys, go. You do need to set expectations, you do need to have accountability for that person.
Hmm.
But when you see that things are going right, you have to start to back off and you have to pass the baton to them and let them do it. The second one is progress. Everyone wants to know that when they are working in a company, or for a business, they have the opportunity to progress. And it's funny because when we all got into this business, well, at least when I got into this business long ago, there was no CE. And then it was every 4 years they did CE. And then after that, they introduced, designations. And then after that, they changed it to 2 years. And, different things happened.
Yeah.
Um, and that was really telling for our industry because there was progress. I can go up the chain and I can be better at what I do. I can feel like an expert because I have progressed. Well,
Yeah.
it's the same thing when you hire an assistant or you hire someone that is running a department. Depending on how large your company is, they need to know that there's a way for them to progress, that they
Yeah.
can go further. The third thing is connectedness.
Okay.
Everyone wants to feel like they're part of the family. If you
Right.
are coming into a company and everyone's like, ah, there's Phil, and they all clear the room every time you walk in, you're going to feel that.
Yeah.
You want to feel that you're a part of this. You want to feel that you're, part of this, circle and that you're not the outcast.
Right.
And, you have that little secret language maybe, and you'll joke around and you'll do things together. That connectedness means a lot to people.
Mm.
And the fourth thing is having something bigger than yourself. So it's funny, we talk about, being a part of a company. There's, a lot of us in this business are just sole proprietors. We just do our own thing. But when you're a part of something bigger than you actually grow and you can do things that you couldn't do by yourself.
Mm.
And that really makes a difference. So those four things really mean something to all of us. Whether we're working for someone or whether we're hiring someone, we need that. And that also works in, with our clients. We want them to feel, very like they are in control. Like how many times, you talk to an agent and they say, you know, this is what I'm going to do. And, or, you shouldn't do this or you should. No client wants to feel that. They want to feel like they're being heard. They're in control of this. They
Yeah.
hired you to do a job.
That's right.
They want that control. They want to know that there's progress. They want to know what's going on. That's why
Yeah.
they're always calling, right? Asking, so that connectedness, They want to feel like they're a part of it. So many agents are so smart when they have those parties for their clients, after. If you sold a house with me, we're going to come together. We're all part of a special group, and then, being part of something bigger than yourself, sometimes giving back to the community,
Yep.
Things that I can do as a community is something greater than I can do myself, So those four things really actually work in all different aspects of our lives.
They really do. And you're not just talking about managing a business with people, but you're also talking about managing a transaction with a client. See what you did there. So there's continuities and there's bigger truths.
Our friends, our relationships, same thing. If you want someone in your life, whether it's business or personal, give them these four things. They'll stay. If you take away one or two, they're going to feel it. They're not going to be that happy.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. You come prepared, kid. I just love it.
I have no notes.
There's nothing you needed to do.
Sitting in my car.
You come prepared. All right. So, curious thing. What prompted you to start the radio show way back when?
That's a really good question. I really like to share the information that I gathered throughout my career, and I have been blessed with some of the amazing people that I have met, CEOs, that really have been heard and weren't. And they would offer all this great information. And then I can share it with one or two people, but going on the radio and being able to broadcast this out to tens of thousands of people, sometimes millions of people, that really was very rewarding for me, because there is a lot of information in this industry that really does need to get out there. And there's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of miscommunications, and sometimes just getting the facts from the source makes that difference.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. We had a lot of fun. So what I recall, I remember that this kind of grew from, you were on the Westchester radio station down there in like Hawthorne, right?
It actually started in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
All right. Had a radio show. And I was his guest. And then I went and I did my own show in Staten Island. And it was like a cable show. It was TV, video. And then from there, I went to Westchester. I started it again. And then we ended up all the way as far as iHeart out of New York City.
I remember. Yeah, I love those Facebook memories. And we had some really high powered guests. And let me tell you, that was fun. I mean, we had a lot of fun. Who was the guy? I mean, we're in the state. People need to know we were in the iHeart Radio studios. I mean, this is where, like, if Van Halen,
capital of the world.
Yeah, the radio capital of the world. Seriously. And there were, I don't even know what the big stations are these days. I know we were on WOR, but there was the big rock station and the big R&B station or whatever it was. But, all the, Opie and Anthony, I don't know. This is where these guys.
We had Duran right down the hall, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're kind of rubbing elbows with these kind of big shots. And my favorite people, though, outside of the people I was directly working with, were always the producers, because they were so down to earth. They were just regular guys. They were like, yeah, we had a senator here the other day, but whatever, when are the breaks, whatever. And so this got built up to, and this is all you. I mean, you built this up from, just the thing all the way to iHeartRadio. And if life, I actually think if life hadn't turned out, if other circumstances had been different, we might still be doing it.
Absolutely.
We might actually be making money at it.
Dork. I went to a warmer climate and I left you behind. Sorry.
No, that's really okay. It's okay. You got to do what you got to do, and you always stayed in touch with me. But you also you then went to TV, right?
Yes. I was on the Tampa Morning Blends ABC morning show once a week.
And how did that work out?
That was fun. It was really fun.
That's really there you go. Boom.
Oh, look at
The
that.
iHeart Radio and the Morning Blend, and look, Tim doing his homework. So
No,
the only thing we didn't have here, we didn't even touched on this, is your work on the Beverly Carter Foundation early
well,
on.
it's funny because we found out about the Beverly Carter Foundation through our radio show.
Mm.
I remember hearing about Carl and meeting him at a convention,
At
and
Inman, right?
it probably was at Inman,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think it
then
was
I
Inman.
asked him if he wanted to come on the show, and that's how it all started. And then we helped him get things up and running. I mean, I'm the person who did the initial videos for the Beverly Carter Foundation.
I
What a
remember
great
that.
organization, by the way. I mean, agent safety is there's nothing more important. Safe. If we're not safe, we don't have anything.
See, that's the thing that people don't understand, and this is worth kind of diving into. We meet strangers alone in empty houses as a business model.
Yep, behind closed doors, and that is the most dangerous thing that you can do.
Yeah, and the typical avatar of a real estate agent these days is, I think, a woman in her late 50s. Not exactly a martial arts champion, right? Not exactly the most intimidating physical presence.
Yeah.
Um, I've had my own brushes with uncomfortable situations. I'll say that. Carl's story and what he did is just beyond inspiring, and he's such a good man for having taken an unspeakable tragedy and trying to turn it into a positive. But I think more people out there need to understand that when a real estate agent asks you, for example, if you've got a pre-approval or if you could send your driver's license over or something like that, this is not because they're trying to give you a hard time. This is because they want to get home to their family that night.
Mm-hmm.
And we all agree that 99.99% of the people out there just want to see the house, right?
Yep.
But if they'd be willing to cooperate, that would weed out the people who have bad intentions. And I'm not just talking about somebody that wants to, not everyone wants to kill us, right? But
Well,
how many
believe
agents do you know have been harassed? Just harassed.
most of the murders that have happened in our real estate industry, and I will give you a stat right now. So between the years of 2008 and 2014, over 200 realtors were murdered on the job. Most of those that were murdered, the murderer did not intend to do that. It was a robbery that went bad.
Yeah.
And Beverly Carter is a perfect example of that. That was a robbery that went bad as well.
Yeah.
So they don't go out there saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to go and have this person meet me in this house and I'm just going to murder her or murder him. But they go to rob them, it goes bad, and then they panic, they don't know what to do, and then a murder occurs.
Right. Yeah. We're not talking about rocket scientists that have a contingency tree here. Not at all.
Now, granted, there are, some psychos out there that do want to get you behind closed doors to murder you. But for the most part, that's not the case. And when we were talking about real estate agents in general earlier, we said, we're really a good group of people. We're very trusting.
Yep.
We really want to make a positive difference in people's lives. We want to help them. We want to help them get home ownership. So when someone calls and says, I really want to, meet you at this house, and we all have done it. I've spoken about this countless times, and everyone will say, oh, no, I don't do it. I don't do that. I don't meet someone without a pre-approval. I don't do it. But there is that one time that we all have done it,
Yep.
because we have that connection. We're talking to them. We feel the need. They're at the house right now. We know this house needs to get sold. We're right around the corner. It's okay. I'm just going to do it this one time. Big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got a tricky situation here in New York. You probably recall that Long Island Divided story with bias treatment that Newsday ran about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Albany did two things. One, of course, politicians will always do this. There's a new form that has to get filled out, a fair housing form. So that came out like right away, right? Mm-hmm. But the second thing is that real estate brokerages had to publicly publish standard operating procedure so that there would be consistent treatment of everybody that contacted that brand. Among the SOPs that had to be uh, defined was, are you going to require a pre-approval in order to render service, or are you not going to require a pre-approval in order to render service? And Albany said, we don't care which one you do. We just care that everyone that you deal with is treated the same, which put brokerages in a tough spot, because how am I going to tell, in my case, 75 agents, you all have to do it this way, when they all have different business models and they all work in different markets and have different priorities and different senses of security, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have an ex-Marine, big, burly, strong guy, Brendan Fitzgerald. Big, strong, good-looking guy. I mean, she looks like he stepped out of a matinee poster, right? He's probably got different security issues than, my 112-pound agent that works out of another office in a different market, 30 miles away. So it really put a conundrum on us as to how to have a blanket policy. And so there was fair housing, safety, consistency, all of it made for a big headache. And we're still kind of dealing with it. The way we split the baby was, if your model was to have a pre-approval, we couldn't make everybody have a pre-approval. We're too big. So if your model is to have a pre-approval and they won't furnish you one, then you'll refer them to someone in the company who can take care of them. That was the only way that we could do it. Safety, in my opinion, is the number one reason why we had to figure that out. Safety. And I would rather, I'm never going to lose my license, but I would rather be yelled at by Albany than have to explain to somebody why their spouse or mother didn't get home safe.
I couldn't agree more.
It's a conundrum.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum. And it's unfixable. All right. So you got on radio in Tampa, beg your pardon, TV in Tampa. And now you are, talk to me about the consultancy. You've talked about the mistakes you're seeing. Okay. What's the name of it? And what's the thrust of your message when you talk to a broker?
So are you talking about the consulting side?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, there's so many of us that, we just started a business, and some of us, it's gone amazingly well. And others, we get to a point where maybe the market changed and we're not used to this. What do? We've not experienced this before. So, every situation is different. And what I bring to the table, which is what I talked about before, is that I've worked for international companies. I've worked for some of the strongest franchisees in the country. I've worked with some of the smallest agencies, that are independent. And, we don't know what we don't know. And if we go out and we ask somebody who does know, it's, surprisingly easy to, fix things that you might be giving you sleepless nights every day, every night. So,
so you do a discovery. You're going to do a discovery and see what they don't know.
Exactly. So the first thing we do is we go in and, we look and see, what's working really well, where are the successes? What are the challenges? How can we, figure it out? Honestly, most of the time it comes down to recruiting. Most brokers do not like to recruit, or they're not hiring the proper recruiter. So I do teach that. I do teach recruiting, how to find the right recruiter, how to set those expectations, hold them accountable. A lot of the things that we already talked about before. And then also retention. We have to keep in mind that our agents need to be recruited on a daily basis because they're getting recruited from the other companies.
Yeah.
And most importantly is driving revenue. Now, driving revenue is on a company basis, but it's also on an agent basis. A lot of agents do not know the programs that are out there. There are so many investor programs out there. There are so many tools that we think we know what they are, but we really don't have a full understanding of them and how it can work for us. And every market is different. So different companies require different things, different markets require different things. So yes, that discovery is very important.
So
And
sorry,
and
go on.
we work on results. We're results driven, so I don't go in there and say, okay, give me X amount of money, and if it works, it works. We are absolutely 100% results driven.
Okay. We're going to come back to that. So, I'm going to switch to so basically your avatar. It could be a leader of a team. It could be a small boutique brokerage. It could be a larger firm. You've had boots on the ground on all of those. So none of those are out of play for you. So if I'm a small brokerage, growing brokerage, aspire to be larger brokerage, you cover a wide range.
We do. Our specialty is the brokerage side. Now, the new catchphrase out there is teamerage, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a brokerage, it's a team that is running their business as if they were a brokerage. It is really the same concept. And that team leader still has to do the same thing that a broker would do. So I work with a lot of franchisees that have multiple offices, a strong franchisee or an independent broker who just wants to get a handle on how to increase business and keep things steady, how to grow. Growth and productivity is always going to bring you profitability. Whether you're a team, whether you're an independent, whether you're a franchisee, it's all the same.
Yeah, truths are truths. All right, so I'm going to switch gears here a little bit for you because I'm interested in your thoughts on this. So my thought lately, and this is for consumers now. So if we're going to, I want to talk about consumers and consumer mindset. We've seen a lot of markets, you and I. All right. So we both go back to the 90s. We've seen a lot of markets. We've seen rates rise. We've seen rates fall. We've seen markets crash. We've seen markets recover. We've seen buyers markets. We've seen sellers markets. We've seen crashes. We've seen all kinds of stuff, right? So right now, how would you categorize the strength or the state of the market? What do you think we're at?
I'm probably going to get a little heat for this saying what I'm going to say, but I actually am happy that the market has gone through the shift that it's gone through. I think we came out of absolute chaos in all the years that I have been in this business. And then, like you said, I've seen it all, the highs, the lows, the crashes, you name it, I've been through it. Never did I see the chaos that we just came out of in the last few years.
Yeah.
By waiving appraisals, waiving home inspections, coming in $100,000 over asking, and feeling resentful for it, feeling that they overpaid, but they had to do it. Sellers get, 18 offers in the first hour, and half of them, well, these have to go for a mortgage. So we're not even going to talk about those. We're just going to talk about all cash. Yep. That is insanity, absolute insanity. Now we went from chaos to something a little bit more normal.
Yep.
So I am actually happy. Who wants to live in that crazy atmosphere? That environment was so stressful.
Yeah.
Listen,
I wouldn't give you any heat on that. We had to have a shift. It was an unsustainably overheated market. And the only thing I'd add to what you said is that not only were people waiving inspections and appraisals, they were waiving mortgages. They were waiving mortgage contingencies.
Yeah,
they were risking losing their deposit and being sued for non-performance by needing to borrow, but coming in without a mortgage contingency. And I got to tell you, from where I sat, it wasn't fun.
No.
It was not fun.
It was not fun.
You know that feeling? You know this feeling. You meet a buyer. You bond with them. They start calling you. You know you've got a client. They start sending you listings they want you to show you. They want you to show them. It becomes like a thing where you're like, yeah, that feeling like I got a buyer. I am so excited to help these nice people find their dream home. And in most markets, you show them some houses, you find the one. 9 out of 10 times it goes through. Maybe once it doesn't, you need to find them another one. But by and large, it's a journey. With agents now, they'd have a buyer and they'd be like, big deal. I'm going to have to I have nothing to show them. If we find something to show them, you know, we don't have a shot at getting it. I mean, where's the fun in that? What kind of market is that? Right? So things needed to come back down to earth. I think a lot of what we're seeing in the news is kind of clickbait. I think it's very misleading. Joe Rand put it best. You're driving 100 miles an hour, you're going pretty fast. You slow down to 60, it feels a lot slower, but guess what? You're still going pretty fast.
Yeah.
We're not trickling along at 12 miles an hour like we were 20 years ago or 15 years ago.
And we could say the same thing about the rates. Everyone's saying, oh my gosh, the rates are going up. It's almost 7%. It hit 7%. It's down to 6%. Oh my God. That's still low.
It's still low.
You're not giving the money away anymore. To have a 3% mortgage and some of them dip down a little bit lower than 3%, that, again, part of the chaos, part of the insanity.
Yeah. So timing the market is one of the myths that I'm seeing now with buyers. So we've got sort of 3 categories of buyers that we're dealing with. I always am amused that the same people that were running like lemmings over a cliff a year ago in this market to overpay and do crazy stuff to buy, now when they actually have a chance at getting their offer accepted, elect to not be in the market because the market is slowing down. I think that's just nuts. But there's 2 other types of buyers. Not the ones that are sitting out. Dumb, in my opinion. There's the ones that say, okay, down market, now's the time to buy. But the third one is the clever one. The clever one is, it's a down market, it's time to buy, but I'm not going to buy until it hits the hour and minute it hits the bottom. That's when I'm going to buy. I'm going to time the market. I can see you're like, yeah, you're not going to, it ain't going to happen.
No. I'm glad you're laughing.
It's like, do I have to explain this?
Yeah, it's funny. Over the years, you see that. I've watched people miss markets because they were timing the market, and they said, you know what, it's going to go down. I missed the market from 6 months ago. I'm going to wait until it happens again. And you know what happens? Years go by, and then the same house that they would have bought for $100,000 less when they were timing the market, is now $100,000 more. And they go, now I really missed the market.
Yeah.
There's always a good time to buy, and there's so many different programs out there. That's why you need a real estate professional, and I am going to give us all a great plug here, because everyone thinks our job is easy. It's not. We need to know what is out there, what's going on. Like I said before, there are investor programs that, if there's a reason that you can't purchase today, well, we'll get an investor to buy the house for you. And then when you're ready, you can rent it back. And when you're ready, you can turn around and buy it. But you're setting yourself up. There's mortgage programs, we have all kinds of different programs out there that are going to get you into that house for a lot less than what you're hearing on the news.
Yeah.
You can't go to the newscaster to figure out how to buy a house. Go to your local real estate professional that you trust, that knows the market, that understands the programs. There's always a reason. Real estate builds wealth. And if you're not buying and selling real estate and getting into something that's going to give you security, that's going to give you that money, that equity, you're missing the boat.
Yeah.
You are really missing the boat. Oh, I'm going to rent because I don't want to pay 6% or 7%. Okay, so how much are you going to rent for? Because the rents are really high.
Yeah.
And what are you
Yeah.
going to do now?
Yeah.
You're not going to sell your house because you don't want to buy something. Well, how many people, did that? Or how
Yeah.
many people are saying, I don't want to sell my house now because I could have gotten $40,000 more 3 months ago. But
Mm.
when you buy something, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So you have to really look at the whole picture. You have to get the right advice from
Yeah.
the right professional.
So just like you said with consulting and with a broker, you have to have somebody that knows what they're doing in that particular silo. And most people, really, most people, even agents, they you should not make this a do-it-yourself project. You have to have an expert and an advocate. It's the largest event financially of most people's lives that occurs in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
to make it to do it on your own, to fly solo is so ill advised, so ill advised.
Yeah. Well, I can put my money where my mouth is, and you're going to love what I'm about to say. I moved to Florida. I was out of the state of New York. I am a
Yeah.
real estate broker in New York. I still hold a real estate broker license in New York.
Yeah.
I'm licensed in 3 different states. I was in Florida. I can't possibly be in New York to show my house.
Yeah.
I didn't say, hey, I'm going to do this because I'm an expert and I know better. I gave it to you because you were local.
Yeah.
And you could go and show the house, and you knew what was going on in the market while I was out in Florida. It's the best
Yeah.
money I ever spent. You
Yeah.
know why? Because we got it done. Can I do it from Florida? Absolutely, I could have done it from Florida. Do I know how to do what you did? Absolutely. But did I do it myself? No, because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And would I say, that I believe that you should hire an expert? I mean it. I did
You
it
did.
myself, even having a real estate license because I wasn't in the market
Yeah.
at the time.
You did. You did. Ken vouch. You did that.
Yep.
I remember that very, very clearly. No doubt about it. And I greatly appreciated it. So we're rounding the corner. These things go by so quickly. But I guess the last thing that I wanted to talk about was where you see the market going. You know, we don't have a crystal ball, but um, what do you think is up over the next 6 to 12 months? Uh, you think rates are going to come down and things are going to return to normal? You think inventory is going to start to make a comeback? I have my own thoughts, but I'm curious as to what your gut tells you.
Well, I mean, we can say a lot of different things. Like you said, none of us has a crystal ball. What I will
No,
say,
no,
we're not going to experience what we experienced in 2008
no, no.
because we weren't giving mortgages out above the value of the homes. So when the value dropped, everyone was underwater. We're not going to see that. I don't think it's going to be terrible. Look, the housing market is what drives the economy. I'm more concerned about the economy than I am the housing market. The housing market's going to correct the economy, in my opinion. It's just going to take time.
Yeah.
We needed to go through this. I think we're going to see agents leaving the business that thought that this was a get rich quick scheme. I'm okay with that. I see you doing that, right?
Bye-bye.
We need the industry cleanse every few years.
The industry cleanse, a
you know,
high colonic for
yeah, but we needed that. So I see, a lot of positive things that will come out of this. It's going to take time,
hmm
and we're all going to be okay.
Yeah. I don't see volatility either. And for the reasons stated, there's not billions and trillions of bad paper out there. I don't see a big Wall Street meltdown because of malfeasance in the institutional levels of the market. And the 2 crashes that we've witnessed in our life, both were very closely tied to severe bank failure.
Mm-hmm.
The savings and loan crisis in the late 80s and the subprime meltdown, which nearly destroyed Wall Street in 2007, 8, and 9. And that's not happening right now. So I think with my dog just barked. I don't know if you heard that, but I think with rates going to a normal, no longer being manipulated, right? Rates being guided by market forces. I think they'll probably come down a little bit. They might get back down to 5, 6%, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
but historically speaking, those are still crazy good rates.
Yes,
Crazy good.
absolutely.
Did you
I
ever?
think that real estate agents just need to pivot and follow where the market's going. Be
Yeah,
the expert, give the proper advice. I think buyers and sellers need to align themselves with somebody who is a true professional who really knows what's going on. And yeah, we're going to see changes, and some of them might be a little scary, but we're going to be okay.
yeah, I think we will be too. All right. So, how does one get in touch with you? So, if I'm a broker, this sounds like this. I should talk to this person. So, oh, there we go. Vic-
Yeah. So it's funny you say. Everything I do is Victoria Riva, Victoria Riva, on all
okay.
my social media, my website, my email. Everything is Victoria Riva. My
Hmm.
phone number is all over the internet. Everyone has my number.
You've still got that 917 number,
I
even though
still
you're
have
in
my
the.
New York number. Won't give it up. Just like there's a small little piece of an episode of Sex in the City, and she is sitting on the rocks by the water, and she's going to throw her phone away, and she said, "I just can't do it. It's a 917 number." So, so I have that 917 number. So it's 917-696-8962 is my phone number. But again, any way you want to reach me is Victoria Riva on anything.
Gotcha, gotcha. And where's home now? Where are you? You're out of Florida now, or
No,
you're
I'm still in Florida. I
oh,
live
okay?
half in Florida, half in North Carolina.
Okay.
Uh, I'm all over the place. Home is wherever I am.
Yeah. Well, truly, I mean,
Yeah,
it really is.
I love Florida. It's a place I always wanted to be since I was a little girl. I'm very happy to be in Florida. It's paradise for me. But I
Good for
did
you.
miss the season changes, so I guess they considered me officially a halfback when I got to North Carolina. But I like the season changes.
Halfback.
Sometimes it gets a little chilly, so right now I'm in Florida.
Gotcha, gotcha. When are you going to be back in New York? Because we need to get together.
When you invite me, I go where I'm invited.
You're invited.
All right, I'll see you in New York.
Boom.
Thank you
You're
so much,
invited. We got.
Ross.
I want you to meet Allison, and yeah, we need to catch up
Jeff,
and do that. And any final thoughts for either the public or agents out there that are watching this and have gotten a lot of good information in my opinion. Any final thoughts?
my final thought is real estate builds wealth.
It
So
does.
don't
It
give up
does.
on. Every time a house is sold, 20 other industries are making money from that.
Yep.
It changes our economy. When you buy something, you are building equity into it. Just buy smart.
Yeah.
Don't just go out there willy nilly. Go hire a professional, get the proper advice, and everything will just work out just fine.
I got to tell you that on that note is so true. And, look, to those that are timing the market, the best timing is what your family's needs are, you know, not
Absolutely.
what some spreadsheet says. If your family, if, the baby's on the way or, you got your bonus, that's the time to do it. So,
Absolutely. Whether you're
um,
upgrading, downsizing, moving to a different climate,
yeah,
you know, there's something out there for everyone.
yeah, yeah. And just do what your family needs and it'll work out. That's my stance on it. I can't thank you enough. We had to uh, pivot here today. It was a
We
little
did.
challenging, but like you always do, you very elegantly handled it, and I greatly appreciate it. We're going to do it again soon.
Show from a car, right? On the road in a gas station, by the way.
I love it. Very elegant, very elegant. But
Yes.
I love it. All right, Victoria, thank you very much. Um, I can't wait to see you in person again. And this thus far has been, in my opinion, one of the more informative episodes.
Oh, thank you.
It's the truth. Timothy, take it away.